Hello Rasikas. G.N.Balasubramaniam, G.N.B. to some and G.N. Sir to others, was one of the greatest musicians that the Carnatic music world has ever seen. Who can forget that golden voice, those lightning fast brigas, and of course, those arresting good looks? I have here today with me the editors of a wonderful book on G.N.B. called Gandharva Ganam. Let's meet Lalita Ram and V. Ramnarayan and find out what this book is about. Hello, sirs. Can you give us a sneak peek into what Gandharva Ganam is about?
Gandharva Ganam is the centenary commemorative volume of G.N.B. Usually, when a centenary of a legend like G.N.B. is celebrated, it is a common practice to bring out a souvenir. But we didn't want to bring out a book which is a conventional souvenir where his relatives and people who are moved with him write their personal reminiscences. This book is an attempt to project G.N.B.'s music for whatever it is worth. It is very well known fact that G.N.B. is a multifaceted musician. His music has several layers as well as several facets. We wanted to bring out all those aspects of his music from and through the people who are experts in those facets. For example, a voice culture specialist writing about G.N.B.'s voice, or a Laya specialist writing about G.N.B.'s Laya prowess. So that is the idea behind the Gandharva Ganam.
Can you tell us how the idea of doing Gandharva Ganam came about?
I didn't know Lalita Ram from Adam until about 6 to 7 months, maybe 8 months ago. As editor of Shruti, I wanted to do something for G.N.B. during his centenary year. And I remembered there had been a book on him in Tamil. And I asked a friend of mine, who's a journalist, Mr. Charukeshi, to get me a copy of the Tamil book on G.N.B. And he gave me a copy of Vishay Ulagin Ilavarasar by Ram, as I call him now. And when I read that, I thought I'd like to translate it and serialize it in Shruti, which I am doing now. And I called a number, which was a telephone number that was given in the book, and his mother spoke, and she gave me his Bangalore number, and that's how we decided to go ahead with the translation project. And we met very soon afterwards at Sampradaya, where we both were looking for something to study. Because he's about half my age, and people ask, how do you manage to work together? We've had no problems at all. And soon after that, Ram asked me if I would help him with editing this book on commemorative volume on G.N.B. that he was bringing out for the family. He had done a lot of the groundwork. He had collected a lot of material, both in Tamil and English, and some rare material. And my job was to edit the English part of it, and then I also helped in the production, pre-print production. And it was a very, very happy experience to work on this book. It was a very tight schedule. We worked on a very, very tight schedule, but we enjoyed doing that.
Did doing Gandharva Ganam help you appreciate G.N.B. the musician better?
Certainly in my case. Though in Ram's case, I think he's a die-hard fan of G.N.B. and he has been that for many years. He authored a book on G.N.B. in Tamil, as I told you earlier. In my case, yes, I knew G.N.B.'s music from the time of my childhood, and as editor of Shruti, naturally I had to know all the musicians. But I was not a particular fan of G.N.B. or anything like that until this project. Because when I started working with Ram on G.N.B.'s music, I went back and watched the Shruti workshop tape. We did a workshop in 1992, which I could not attend at that time because my father had just died, and my father, who wrote the profile of G.N.B. in Shruti, because of that I couldn't attend that workshop. So after all these years, I didn't even know those tapes were still around. So when we were talking about the centenary, My colleagues Sukanya and Janaki told me about the seminar workshop tapes, and so I watched them, and I realized what a wonderful, what a complete musician he was. How he built up Raga Alapana step by step, and in a manner I think has not been equaled in Carnatic music. That's my personal opinion. I may be wrong, but I don't think any other musician has actually developed Raga Alapana in such a systematic way, particularly before Ragam Tanam Pallavi. So that is something I learnt from watching the video. Plus, while editing the book, I came to know not only that he was a complete musician, he was a complete human being in many ways. He was a very interesting man, Western educated man, BA honours and so on, with a tremendous command over English and very sophisticated style, sophisticated thinking, philosophically, musically. It was quite an amazing discovery for me to know that this man from Mylapore, or from Tamil Nadu and eventually Mylapore, knew Shakespeare and Keats and Shelley and all kinds of authorities on different subjects, music especially. He knew Western music, he knew Hindustani music, he had great respect for musicians from other parts of India and the world, and quite an extraordinary man. And really, I think, I don't know whether he lived simply, but he certainly, thought, in a very global, very high manner. So that was a great discovery for me. Just to give you an example of the kind of reading and the kind of intellectual speculation that he did on music, on philosophy, on art, I just read a couple of sentences from one of his articles. I quote, "In the artist, what the intelligence discovered is an experience the imagination adorned and sublimated. Otherwise, poets and artists cannot give to airy nothings a local habitation and a name. But for this unique sensitiveness and aestheticism, the world of art would have been the poorer for the stinging sensuousness of Keats, the ethereal idealization of Shelley, the elemental simplicity of Wordsworth, and the introverted mysticism of Browning and the Gothic ornate grandeur of Milton." This is the kind of thought, the kind of language that he used. So he was way beyond being a performing musician. He thought about music, he thought about art, he thought about philosophy. He was a mystic himself who performed puja every day. He was quite an all-round man, which is why, this experience revealed all this to me, and which is why I cherish that.
Tell us about the effort that you've put in compiling Gandharva Ganam, and also the people who've contributed to this effort.
See, the way this book started was when my Tamil biography on G.N.B. Isayulaga Elavarasar was released in 2006 December. I had come in contact with G.N.B.'s family more closely. I had known one of his sons, G.B. Rajshekhar, for quite some time, but I didn't know his other family members. So that is when I met others. One key person was Maheshwaran, who is G.N.B.'s grandson, who stays in Australia. So when he came down in 2006, we had met, and way back in 2006 we discussed that a centenary for such a great person should be done in a grand scale. So the seeds of the centenary, we did not discuss in as many words saying that we are going to bring out some commemorative volume as we have done, but we knew that we had to bring out something substantial for the centenary. So back in our minds we started thinking about how to go about it. Then about 2009 June, Mahesh again called me back, saying that by that time a committee had been formed for celebrating the G.N.B. centenary for the entire year. So monthly concerts were organized, monthly speeches were being made. So at that time a fitting finale for this celebration would be bringing out a commemorative volume on G.N.Balasubramaniam. So that was the idea behind this. And when Mahesh contacted, then I was only more than happy to be a part of that. I took a lot of ownership especially he being in Australia, somebody here who had to own this entire thing. I had done a lot of groundwork earlier for my book. At least I either already had a lot of material with me or knew where to seek material. So, in the process of bringing out this commemorative volume, I have gone through each and every page of magazines like Kalai Magal, Kalki, Ananda Vigdan and Journal of Music Academy, Tamil Isai Changam Souvenir, whatever is available in the Roja Muttiya library and some other archives. I have personally gone through and scrolled over pages and pages for, it took about 2-3 months of most of the time travelling from Bangalore and all that. So, when we found that there was a lot of elements which were only heard of, which we were able to unearth. Some of the thing is like he was a brand ambassador for Philips radio, but nobody had seen an advertisement actually showing him as a brand ambassador. So, we were able to pull it out from an old issue of Kalki. So, such things. He had written another interesting article was how he chose between the two careers of whether becoming a lawyer or to become a musician. He had that dilemma and then he chose to become a musician. And in his own words, he had written in a 1942 article for Ananda Vigdan. So, these things gave a lot of insights. So, we wanted to compile all that, but these things we only wanted as as a part of documentation. But the major portion of the book we thought was, should be concentrating on his music, because G.N.B. was such a big name, not just because of his other things, but mainly because of his musical prowess. So, what we did was we broke down all his facets into various topics, about 18-19 topics, ranging from how his music has progressed through the 78 RPM recordings, what was an voice culture's opinion on his voice, how did he frame his concert, how did he plan for his concerts, about his compositions, about his approach of Raga Alapana for a Kriti versus approach for Raga Alapana for Ragam Tanam Pallavi, his Kalpana Swaras. He was a pioneer in Porutam singing and his offbeat places for Neraval singing. So, we broke it down into many facets, and then we thought, we named this section of the book as Ragam, because in G.N.B.'s music it is essentially Ragam music. So, we wanted the main portion of the book to be titled Ragam, and it was very well known that G.N.B. and his father were excellent writers and profound thinkers, and they had contributed through several articles in various places, majorly to the Journal of the Music Academy. But an effort to compile all their writings had not been made so far. So, we thought this is an opportunity to compile all their writings. So, while doing that, what is most gratifying thing is we were able to bring out 3 unpublished articles written in 1956 in his own handwriting, which had not seen the light of the day. We again went back and from his handwritten manuscripts, unedited forms, we were able to bring out those 3 excellent articles into print. So, this section, although in G.N.B.'s music Tanam is not a very significant portion, whereas in our book the Tanam, the second portion which has the writings of G.N.B. and his father, it is the lengthiest section of the book. And the third section is where we have recorded the personal reminiscences of his family, his accompaniments and his fans and his close friends. So, along with this book, we are also giving a CD as a part of this book, which is a rare recording of a private rendition. It is not a public performance. This was sung for a foreign visitor who had come all the way to India just to listen to G.N.B. and G.N.B. was in a deathbed at that time. So G.N.B. gave a 1 hour performance to satisfy his Rasika, and it is tough to believe that a person who is in his deathbed can actually sing so well. So we thought it will be a good compliment for the book. So that is also part of the book, and we have also been blessed to have some exclusive paintings which are adorning this books. One is by S. Rajam, who just passed away. He had depicted the famous Vasudevayani Kriti in his own style, and also the cover is done exclusively for the book by Maniam Selvan, again a big name in the field of art. So, and this book has more than 200 photographs. As far as timelines are concerned, it was a very aggressive timeline, because we had the release date written on stone, so we couldn't exceed it, and by the time we started it was pretty late. Although I said we had thought about it in 2006, the time when we started it in 2009, it was quite late. I had to finalize the list of the authors, and then I had to contact them. They had to finish their writing part, they had to send it to me, and then we had to do a round of editing, then we had to do the pre-processing work, and then it had to go to the print, and then it had to come out. So all these steps had to be done very fast. So I think we had, although it was very aggressive, we had the complete trust from the G.N.B. family, I should say, both from Mahesh as well as his father Bhuvaneshwaran. They completely gave the job to us, and they didn't question our judgments, which was a great thing. I really appreciate that part of their family. And I should also thank Mr. Padmanabhan for carrying out this printing work. As far as the pre-production work was concerned, we owned it, but after that we just completely gave it to him. We didn't had to worry about the final output of it. He has spent his career on printing, and the way he has brought out the volume is just tremendous. And the design, layout, and all of the pre-production work was done by Arun Ganesh, and he probably did that in record time, with so many photographs to be inserted. And this is a bilingual book. Some parts of the portions are in Tamil, and some things, I mean, it's a real mess to sort it out in such a short span of time. He had like 2-3 days, just 2-3 days to finish the entire pre-production work, and he had spent night outs, and he would spend day and night worked on it. It was definitely a labor of love for all of us, and looking back at what has come out, I think it is really a very satisfying experience.
How is it working with Lalita Ram, considering that you've not known each other for a long time, you come from entirely different backgrounds, and also your age difference?
Basically, I think we complement each other, and because he's young, he is unafraid to ask questions and clarify, and I think I bring a certain maturity and experience. I think these two qualities work together very well when you're doing something like this. The other thing is, his love of music goes into great detail. I think I'm happier with the general aesthetics of music. I'm not, contrary to what people might think, the Shruti editor and an engineer, he's the one who's more into the theory of music than I am. So for me, it's the overall aesthetic experience and my own strong beliefs in what is good in music and what is not. And so we complement each other so well, because he took care of the technical side of it, and I took care of the language and the way aesthetically how to present it. Even though so many of the articles are written by other people, you need to tweak it a little bit here and there, and I think I had the right qualities for that, having done that for many years. And the other thing is, he also had some qualities which I don't have. Staying with this job for so many years, so many months, following up with people and digging deep, going into a library and sitting there. I have neither the time nor the inclination to do that, and he finds the time, and because he has the inclination. So we have worked together, and being a translator of his work, I understand his mind better. And The most important thing is that we trust each other and we don't interfere too much in each other's work, and hopefully this will lead to other books of a similar kind, though we may not find another G.N.B. to do, which is always very difficult.